Today's High Performance Podcast is brought to you by Josh Phegan Digital. It's where you'll find our revolutionary blueprint course. There's only one place that you can go from zero to hero over a weekend by watching the incredible blueprint. It's everything you'll need to be that $1 million agent. Prospecting, listing, negotiation, and growth. Broken up into short 15-minute pieces, skip to the content you need now or watch from the beginning to end. Only on Josh Phegan Digital. Welcome to High Performance, the podcast featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, without a doubt, one of the great skills is that ability to be able to have that competitive drive. And, you know, one of the things that I see with all the top performers that we get to work with around the world is that they are really competitive with themselves to be able to go and do better than what they actually did last month, to do better than what they did last quarter, to do better than what they did the year before. And they're ultimately finding new ways to be fresher, better, and faster with how they're going to work with consumers. What's the dialogue I can use to make a better quality callback? How can I present the reasons why may even better inside the listing presentation, and what can I do to actually encourage the buyer to buy and the seller to sell? Alex, how important is it for you to be able to get competitive and find the things that drive your competitive streak to allow you to go and perform at the highest levels?
Josh, that's really what drives us every week, every day, and every minute is obviously be the best at what we where we're at. And like you said, what gives me that drive is actually keeping myself accountable and what can I do better than I did last week, last month, and keep compounding that to make sure that you remain at the top of the game. But most of that comes down to having personal goals and personal desires that you know that your workflow will flow into that. And if you're continually thinking about that, brainstorming that, it's making sure that you've got a real desire to want to be the best. And not everyone wants to. Everyone's got a different way of life and how they want to live and perform and whatnot. But the most important thing is making sure that you've got yourself accountable and you're trying to get better and better. Yeah,
this is the interesting thing is that some people are going to see their group certificate at the end of the financial year, and that's when they're going to realise whether or not they've done well or not for the year. Does that surprise you that people would wait till the end of the financial year to work that out?
Yeah, they should be looking at it at the end of each day.
I love it that you're down to the daily there, out there at the annual. And I think this is the big difference with the greats. When you're off, let's say, for example, you lose a couple of listings, maybe you haven't made a sale or two for the week and you're starting to wonder, geez, I'm a little bit out. What do you do to recalibrate to get Alexander Phillips back on the horse to make sure that you're driving forward that momentum if there are things that aren't going your way inside of the marketplace?
Josh, I think the main, what I see with a lot of agents where they sort of go down this spiral of that eating away at them and they just continually get worse and worse is not, you've got to have the mental head or toughness to forget about what you've lost and work out what's in front of you to make sure you've got positive energy and then you list the next two properties, you're not continually losing 3 and 4 and 5. So it's not dwelling on them. I don't like to ask, why did I miss the business or what could I have done better? I think that for me as a person, it just eats away at you and you end up being more negative and miss out on the next. So, I think it's if you've got if you've got the mental headspace to and not get emotional about it, that's why I think a lot of agents drop off or drop out of the industry. It's too emotionally hard and then they drop away. So it's about remaining positive and energetic and looking forward.
I'd love to find out what the reasons why they actually made the decision to use me. Because that's obviously the lesson. That's the thing that's landing right now in the listing presentation. And if that's landing really well, then I've got to go and tell that story to go and make that happen. Alex, let's do that for just a couple of seconds. What's the lowest sale price that you've ever done in your career? What's the lowest sale price?
It's probably about 300, I'd say, or 299.
Yeah, 299,000. What's the highest sale price you've ever achieved?
26.
26 million? Okay, great. And then roughly, how many transactions is your team doing on any given year?
We do 220 a year. 220
a year. Okay, great. And so if you start thinking about it, like the total number of sales that you've done over a period of time, how big is the property management these days at Phillips Homes only?
1,300.
So 1,300. So 1,300 times by 2 is 2,600. 2,600, the 220 times that by 2, another 440. Let's go and say that, like circa 2,600 customers that you've successfully served just in your team and what you've done inside the property management world. You've sold properties anywhere from 299,000 all the way through to 26 million. And so actually, Mr. and Mrs. Owner, you can see that we've been trusted at the highest echelons, but also too that we can sell properties at any price level. What I'm here to do though with you today is to say this. What we really want to do is we want to get you sold. We want to maximize your sale price. We want to make it easy for you and we want to reduce the risk. Alex, would you allow me to do that for you? So we got to call out like a really quick uplift speech that when you're an agent, if you're trying to find that out inside of your brand, make sure that you've got a really good quality and compelling stories, the reasons why people should use you. Alex, how important is that for you to be able to tell your story so that literally people will make the decision to use you and pay more in the fee?
It shows your proof experience and you know that you know how to actually transact and make sure that you get the best result for the vendor.
And I just love this. At the end of the day, if you're looking at the results and they're not where you want them to be, it's time to get competitive again.